Perundangan Seni Bina dan juga Perancangan Bandar. Beliau juga merupakan pengasas dan presiden bagi Sports Law Association of Malaysia, Society of Construction Law and the Malaysian Society of Adjudicators Asia Pacific Regional Arbitration Grouping (APRAG). Untuk itu, mari dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan.
A very good morning to all of you all. You must forgive me, I'm going to speak in English. When I studied in HBP, everything was in English, except we did some Bahasa papers for the requirement for university graduation. Yang bahagia, Professor Datuk Sri, Engineer Dr. Abdul Rahman Muhammad, Yang Arif, Datuk Lim Chong Fong, Judge of the Court of Appeal, Yang Berusaha Professor Dr. Habibah A. Wahab, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Yang Berbahagia, Yang Berusaha Architect, Interior Designer and Technologist Michael Ong Chin Keong, and Yang Berusaha Professor Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Muhammad Rozi Ismail, and Berusaha Professor Madya Dr. Rajoo Ismail, and esteemed faculty members, cherished alumni, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is actually a momentous moment for me. 50 years ago, I studied here. I started, not 50 years ago, almost 50 years ago. I'm going to be 68 years old, and I still feel I can contribute. And I'm humbled and very grateful for this opportunity to address you on the 50th Golden Jubilee celebration of the School of Housing, Building and Planning, University Science Malaysia. As I stand today in this academic arena, I'm submerged with memories and reminded of the echoes of knowledge that have surrounded these corridors. The haloed halls speak of untold dreams that we have kept within the confines of our heart. But it wasn't just us. These very walls of the School of Housing, Building and Planning had heard ambitious whispers of our hearts, also had a dream, which is to serve and build a resilient future for Malaysia. Today, we witness how this dream has turned to reality. We also celebrate a century of academic excellence, a journey which changed in many ways the face of Malaysia and has touched the essence of our society and the future of our multitudinous communities. 50 years ago, the School of HBP commenced its operation with 12 students only. The students then hailed from various locations, showcasing significant confidence in the longevity of this novel educational initiative. It was impressed upon us that this was a place of innovation and transformation. We became part of this revolutionary movement. In retrospect, I am still in awe of the achievements of the school, the graduates and the teachers, which shine ever so brightly in their own respective fields and endeavors. The school has come a long way since its inception. In the past, it merely limited itself to one bachelor program, namely what I have, that is the Bachelor of Science in Housing, Building and Planning Honours. But now, the school offers 7 major bachelor courses from architecture to urban and regional planning and even building technology. HBP-USM offers a plethora of subjects encompassing all 7 fields that nurture outstanding graduates in the global market. As industries rapidly evolve and more graduates enter the workforce, employers are seeking additional soft skills in their new hires. The knowledge-based economy has intensified competition not only among global employers for the best talents, but also amongst educational institutions that nurture these talents. That said, I am proud that the School of Housing, Building and Planning does exactly that. To quote Sir Philip Sherlock and Professor Rex Nettleford, a university is a living organism that draws its nutrients from the society it serves. And I agree, but at the same time, I realize that HBP is different. It doesn't just draw nutrients from society, it provides the much needed nourishment to society instead. It is rooted in scholastic approach while it ensures the students bloom with grace and wisdom. The fruit of their labor is manifested by all of us here today. It is reflected in the program's commitment not only to provide academic excellence, but also to enrich the community it operates within. The students who joined the program at its inception half a century ago had believed in this vision. In turn, it set the stage for a remarkable journey of growth, learning, and societal impact. No doubt, the globalization that has prompted Malaysia's higher education institutions to undergo significant changes, these changes are aimed at equipping the education system to produce a workforce that is not only of high quality, but also creative, innovative, and well-equipped in a knowledge-driven economy. Thus, while HBP remains agile in the face of dynamic changes, it is unwavering in providing the highest quality of education to its students. In the ensuing decades, HBP has continued to evolve, consistently striving. Today, 50th anniversary celebration allows us to reflect on the achievements of our past colleagues. It also challenges us to look ahead. We must protect what is precious from the past, but also look upon the treasures of the future. Back in 1972, HBP was an initiative proposed by the then Vice Chancellor of USM, Professor Tan Sri Datuk Hamzah Sundra. He was a town planner. In fact, the first Vice Chancellor of University Science Malaysia was from the building industry. He was a town planner. He wanted a new school of studies with a direct role in national development. I still remember when I first enrolled into the program, its aim was to train development officers. Accordingly, the school shaped the program structure distinct from other schools of built environment. HBP then offered one general course with majors in planning and architecture. There was a separate MSc in urban and regional planning, which was the only professional course to be trained as a town planner. As such, the architecture major in the bachelor course was insufficient and was not recognized by the Board of Architects in Malaysia for accreditation as a professional architect. Hence, people like me in the early days could only become development or administrative officers, and some of us became draftsmen once we graduated. Now we have come a long way, since all of y'all students can pick and choose different programs across the board. However, I believe that the same visions still holds. There's a need to cultivate well-rounded individuals equipped with fundamental knowledge across various domains related to housing, building, and planning. This explains why the program is and will be initially integrated, requiring all of y'all, including myself when I did that, to study the same core subjects during the first and second year. To this day, HBP is crafted to meet the rising demand for ethical and versatile professionals for shaping the built environment and economy. It is this distinctive identity, namely an integrated multidisciplinary program focusing on an increasingly dynamic environment, nurturing graduates with vision, innovation, and above all, passion. Ladies and gentlemen, my personal journey at HBP started in 1975. It was transformative. I think I was 19 years old. Today, I see many of you young and eager, perhaps unaware of the profound impact that this institution will have on your lives. But I see my younger self in every one of you. The School of HBP is a nest of growth. It allowed me to fulfill my full potential. It is in these halls that I have grasped the bountiful and the opportunities that higher education can provide. Back in 1972, our school was much smaller, but the spirit of the students was sailing high. In 1975, I was the fourth batch of the school, where the school was still in a very early stage. Today, we are celebrating our 50th anniversary, a significant milestone of pride throughout the academic community. Today, we celebrate our historical journey. We have to also anticipate the momentous journey ahead. The starting point urges us to both reflect on the past and plan for the future. As Johann Wolfgang von Goethe said, "He who moves not forward goes backwards." HBB means a lot to me, even now, because the opportunities it has opened for me. The school's philosophy still influences me on how I live my life. Like many of you here today, whether you're a student or you're a teaching staff, we all started young and inexperienced. HBP is the germ of my growth. It helped me to steer towards excellence in my chosen field. For me, it started in 1975. That is the amazing power of good education. It gave me the thirst and freedom to be inquisitive, creative, innovative. It really created the basis for success thereafter. Ladies and gentlemen, when I graduated in 1979, my path led me to Bank Negara, Malaysia. It was an experience that charts my professional career. Thereafter, the bank sent me to pursue a graduate diploma in architecture at the Tasmanian College of Advanced Education. At that time, concurrently, I also read for another graduate diploma in urban and regional planning at the Tasmanian State Institute of Technology. Both institutes do not exist anymore. They are merged with the University of Tasmania. The two graduate diplomas in architecture and urban and regional planning were then and are still recognized in Malaysia for professional registration, which I did in 1985 and in 1986 with the Board of Architects and the Malaysian Institute of Town Planners. The Board of Town Planners was set up later in the 1990s, and my registration number is number 24. I worked with Bank Negara, Malaysia from 1979 to 1997, where I started as an administrative officer, was resident architect on Bank Negara's headquarters extension building, which was 4 times the size of the original Bank Negara, working my way up as assistant manager, senior assistant manager, and finally head of the building division. When I was working in the building division, I was exposed to building contracts and procurement matters. My interest in law was kindled. I got my first appointment then as arbitrator in 1990, appointed by the Board of Architects, the President of the Board of Architects, for a fee dispute between a developer and an architect. It was obvious at that time that I was a greenhorn in matters of arbitration, and when the parties saw me and their lawyers, they promptly settled. So, I mean, my first arbitration was actually a success and a failure. A failure in the sense that I did not get a chance to do the arbitration, a success because parties settled their problem. But I think more importantly, my appetite was whetted. I started to do more arbitrations, being appointed by the President of the Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia and also by the Chairman of the Board of Architects. Soon, party appointments started to come in, and that's perhaps when I first met young Arif, Datuk Lim Chong Fong, when he was counsel in some of the cases, much later, I think much later, almost at the end of the decade. And I was doing those arbitrations with permission from Bank Negara, and I used to take leave. So at that time, we used to have 30 days leave. If you work in service, one of the best things that you have is the number of days of leave. And I made full use of it. But the real thing is that when you start to do work that is not you're trained for, you feel ill-equipped. And I felt ill-equipped. Especially when I faced party representatives that were inevitably lawyers. And I also wanted to get my decision and procedure right. So I decided to study law. And so from 1993 to 1995, I studied law in the external program of the University of London. It was an eye-opener. In 1995, I decided to do a sabbatical in midlife. Sometimes people say there's a midlife crisis. Midlife crisis, I don't know, and a lot of, we all have jokes, you all don't take it seriously. You either go out and buy a sports car, or some people will get married again. But I think the more important thing is, I did something more useful. I decided to go and study. And you always look for a change at that time, because I think I was going to hit 40. And I took no pay leave from Bank Negara and went to Leeds in England. I then enrolled for an MSc in Construction Law and Arbitration at Leeds Metropolitan University, now known as Leeds Beckett University. And concurrently also enrolled for a research MPhil in law at the University of Manchester under a Chevening Fellowship. It was heavy but fulfilling learning. I completed both programs simultaneously. Looking back, I don't think so I want to do it again. It was very hard work. But I think the main thing about hard work is you improve. One way or another, you just improve. And I believe I improved analytically with a strong intellectual ability to question and come up with solutions. It provided me an excellent platform to hone my writing skills. A research degree does that for you. A thought degree, normally you actually regurgitate what is lectured to you, you try to remember, you will write it down, perhaps a small dissertation. But writing a full research degree, like what Yang Arif Lim Chong Fong did for his LLM, a full research degree creates that ability to actually tackle a problem, and you have to write out your entire thing, and that makes you mentally skilled and also develop the ability to write. And it is actually something telling, because I was conferred in 2014 honorary LLD in law from Leeds Beckett. I think I'm the first foreign graduate from the alma mater given this honor. And I was very grateful for it, because it was after 20 years leaving the university, they recognized that. And it is actually from a foreign university, from Leeds Beckett, but my alma mater. But going back to the story, in 1996, I returned back to Malaysia and went back to Bank Negara to work, because I know leave completed. But it was very difficult to do the same work. I went back to the same job. I couldn't take it. I decided that I don't want to spend the next 20 years doing the same thing. It had become a drudgery. In 1997, I took a leap of faith. I resigned. I finished my contract when I had two bonds with Bank Negara. I always served my bonds. I finished my contract and I left Bank Negara, and I became a full-time arbitrator. And then at the same time, I also started to study intensively the new subject, arbitration, ADR, mediation, and then construction law. And I had a lucky break in 1997 when I was engaged by the Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia to update the PAM ISM standard form building contract. And the result of that work, which I started with the late Casey Chung, who's a mentor. In life, you need mentors. Always look for a mentor. The late Casey Chung, who's quite an interesting man, one of the first fellows, engineer, architect, one of the first fellows of the Chartered Institute in Malaysia. He took a liking to me, and he guided me, and he got the contract first, he passed on, and then I continued the work. And the result was the PAM 1998 form, which broke away from the 1963 form. It is then I started to think that I should write a commentary on it. So I used Vincent Powell's book, which was the basis, which talked about the PAM 1963 contract, and then I rewrote it, and the result was my first book, which was released in 1999. It was a great success. Again, it encouraged me for writing books. I have now written, with this year, 14 books, and the latest, which I've co-authored, entitled Law, Practice and Procedure of Adjudication. I think a copy has been presented to the school this year. And I'm also working on a number of book projects which should come out one after another, even as long as I said, as long as I can think, as long as I can write, as long as I can work, I will keep on producing the books and new editions. Therefore, driven by my steadfast belief in developing the ADR scene in Malaysia, I took the role of establishing, at that point of time, several institutions which are now taken for granted as part of the ADR landscape. That included, the early days, the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators Malaysia branch, the Malaysian Institute of Arbitrators. I'm also the founding member of the Society of Construction Law, founding president, the Malaysian Society of Adjudicators, the Sports Law Association of Malaysia, and the latest, of course, which is my great pride, which transcends national boundaries, is the Asian Institute of Alternative Dispute Resolution, which in effect we tried to actually replace the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, at least in Asia. I believe that these institutions will play an important role in enhancing the legal framework both in Malaysia and in Asia. But admittedly, spearheading these initiatives as an NGO represents challenges, particularly in terms of financial constraints. But I view these challenges as essential in the pursuit of success, knowing that public recognition and positive impact will make it worthwhile. With all that said, I'm sure you will gauge why I believe so strongly in education. It has shaped me into the person I am today. More importantly, it has empowered me with the ability to give back to the community which I and my office proudly serve. As you can see, my educational journey has been an adventure filled with twists and turns. My desire has always been constantly to seek knowledge, brought me halfway across the world. And yet I recognize the roots of all of it started here in the School of Housing, Building and Planning. It is through my early and pristine education and certifications that I received that charted the path ahead. The versatile program made me adaptable and agile across various industries that I wish to delve in. To all of your students today, make no mistake, you are in the right place. I look at you. I look at you, I see your potential. I also see your dedication. And in most of you, I see myself. Ready, eager, hopeful of what the future may hold. All of you all have bright horizons to look forward to. At the same time, I'm assured that as I stand here today, I look upon professionals of our future, builders of nations. I find solace that knowing that each edifice of building that was built students today was done with passion and grit. Oftentimes, I drive by and look at buildings. I'm still very interested in buildings. Very strangely, I look at towns, I look at buildings, I look at squares. When I go to China, I'm just amazed by their ability to have done all this in about 30 years. But I'm filled also with nostalgia, like how our eyes are the windows to our soul. We know that each building tells a tale of a young person looking to make his mark in this beloved nation, one building at a time. And when you plan blueprints for the city, I hope that you find pride in charting, that you're charting the blueprint of your life. While it is true that the highway of life have brought me amazing adventure, I'm not immune to roadblocks and speed bumps that it lays as you go. While my intentions and actions have remained somewhat, I believe, pure in serving the ADRC, I've faced adversaries in the light of such honor. As some of you all would know, there were vicious allegations that were made against me and AIAC a few years ago. Accusations that were baseless, claims that were preposterous, rooted in vendetta and jealousy. There were powerful connections looking to burn the bridges between me and my service to my country. I still vividly recall the agony, questioning whether it was easier to give up. However, I found solace in Winston Churchill's words, never giving, never giving, never, in nothing great or small, large or petty, never give in, except to convictions of honor and good sense. And that is exactly what I did. I never give in. I never give up. In my conviction of honor and good sense, I march with nothing but determination, honesty and faith in our justice system. Indeed, justice was served when the charges were all squashed. Every single allegation that was schemed had faltered and I was left standing. I received a settlement and a reinstatement. Ladies and gentlemen, in the grand tapestry of existence, life threads its narrative with the precision of a master viewer, stitching moments of triumph and tragedy in unbroken succession. As you now know, I too have danced with the fate of impending gloom, embracing both joyous highs and unfortunate lows. For that is the nature of the human spirit, to wander through such landscapes. Oftentimes, envy veils human nature like a shroud, blinding hearts to the luminous potential of individuals' uniqueness. To you listening today, as you strive to make your mark in the world, know that I stand here in awe and admiration of your ambitions. However, I pray that you will never succumb to the temptation of jealousy, one that is so engrossed with the dreams of others that you forget your own. Jealousy and greed are a serpent coiled in the human soul that poisons the bonds that we share, fanning the flames of discord and causing nothing but chaos. Always remember, heavy is the heart that bears not only his own desires, but the desires of what is others. In the theatre of my life, the schemes that conspired to orchestrate my downfall were all tainted with the color green of envy and of greed. While I had the good fortune to uncover the enduring truth of my integrity as proven by a court of law in the face of adversity, I share the hope that you will be able to do the same. I have no doubt that young people in this great school are set to face inevitable challenges where it will require you to master the courage and confidence to push forward, even if the walls around you are crumbling. Remember always, it is in the solitude of our struggle that we find the raw essence of our being and the unquenchable fire that resides inside. The trials we weather and the battles we wage shape us into masters of our own destiny. Similar to how a building is erected, brick by brick, stones that life throws at you are simply raw materials that you build your life with. It can either make you or break you. Remember, it is from the ashes of our downfall we will always emerge stronger and wiser. Every stumble and each failure only fuel the fire within us, a fire that illuminates the path that leads to greater heights of self-discovery. No matter what life's tapestry will continue to weave its intricate patterns, alternating between peaks and valleys. However, it is not the view that you have seen at the peak that count. Rather, it is your grit to always climb out of the valley should life push you down that matters more. USM, including HBP, I talk about the university now. You know, I was so proud when it became an Apex University. It's one of the things, you know, I had a choice between University Malaya. At that time, we cannot go overseas. We could only go to Malaya. I had the choice between economics at University Malaya or HBP. I chose HBP. And I always, you know, and I have no regrets. In fact, I lectured in, I've been an adjunct professor in University Malaya. I've lectured in the law faculty in University Malaya, which is a great faculty, one of the greatest law schools in Malaysia. And you know, I think the university and the school has stood in the face of has stood tall for 50 years or longer, and has faced rain and sunshine. And I pray that your heart reflects the soul of this institution, unchanging, unwavering, no matter what the weather faces. Today, we stand in front of all of y'all, filled with pride, unity, and uniqueness. I understand the importance of this 50th Golden Jubilee and pay tribute to the foresight of our founding fathers and figures and the dedicated efforts after that to shape the campus into what it is now. I will say that the individuals walk through the halls of the administrative building, through this campus, in the past, they must be watching us with immense pride. If you listen closely, you will hear the sentiments of hope that is echoed by our founding members. As they lay the foundation for the school, Tan Sri Hamzah Sundra, brick by brick, they know they were laying a foundation for this country, one student at a time. The corridors of this institution speak of the ambitions that was to always be better. Every lecture and hall and classroom was completed with doors of boundless learning and windows of opportunities. USM HBP kept my start, and for the past 50 years, it has always been my gateway to educational quality. In rededicating our commitment, we renew our appreciation for the School of HBP, which has now become an icon of USM, an icon for the building industry. We are actually defined by the satisfaction of this achievement. I salute all of y'all and the distinctiveness of our graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, as I started in the early days of 1972, HBP's humble beginnings with a small cohort around 14 pioneering students, now as we reflect a 50-year span, the vast number of graduates at 6,700 in total have now become an integral part of our community. Many have ventured into different paths, which is expected. Many have chosen to follow the footsteps of their chosen field of study, applying knowledge and skills they have acquired during the time in HBP to excel their careers. But the alumni have also taken different routes, using the education as the foundation to explore and excel in various other domains. And many of them out there, including me, I hope have made an impact in the respective fields. This diverse array of career paths showcases the adaptability and versatility of the education that HBP has imparted upon its graduates. The innovation and dedication of the school is ever evolving and is a great success. Tomorrow, we start our 51st year, and the scheme has been reformed. It is time to run. In this fast-evolving economic and cultural climate, gone are the days when educational institutions affect the route through which learning takes place. Today, colleges and universities must actively recognize and meet the student needs and preferences to stay competitive. I urge all of you all to adopt this idea of being versatile. As I'm practicing law with a background in construction, I found these two fields to be interconnected and symbiotic. This is why I find the program offered under HBP a multitude of skills being integrated and understanding to make us multidisciplinary graduates. For this school to advance compared to others, elements of adaptability need to be considered. The legal realm is part and parcel of construction world. As buildings are erected, various laws come into intervention. The knowledge of legal processes and the law is a valuable asset for one's future. It prevents you from making mistakes. It protects you in the event there is one. If graduates are familiar with construction law, mistakes in planning can be avoided. It is true that we learn from our mistakes, but after all, it costs you millions for every error made. Thus, prevention is better than cure. The integration of construction law to a study handrail that students can grasp to prevent any mishaps. I suggest that it is necessary to know a connection between an engineer's failure or professional's failure, building construction professional's failure, and civil action. And that is to acknowledge the seriousness of the situation and to identify the problem. Only in this way that you will be able to recognize the difference between a legal problem that can be solved and a situation that requires professionals' legal support. And this helps the building industry by sustaining financial adaptability. As director of the AIAC, the Asian International Arbitration Center, I've administered various construction-related disputes. I see many failures, and I feel that it is quite important that people in the building industry, particularly graduates from HBP, should avoid failures in matter of contract fulfillment and always be legally secure in their operations. I know that HBP innovates itself as an institution based on market requirements. In fact, I believe that this adaptability is the cornerstone of our education system. As we look into the future, the looming horizon is fronted by digitalization. I believe that technological integration can be part of HBP's USM effort to go forward. It could involve the use of advanced software for design and modeling, virtual reality, augmented reality, applications of immersive learning experiences, digital platforms for collaborative projects and remote learning, utilizing mechanisms like virtual design and construction, VDC, fosters a syncretic environment of partnership across all disciplines that are being taught. And we always hear this slogan that the youth today are our greatest assets. What does it mean? It means that each student is an individual with a unique potential and value. Their education experience and skills are equivalent of their fundamentals. Just as assets that rise in value, our students' abilities and knowledge evolve over time. But however, for this to happen, we must invest. This invest comes in the form of our improving our educational system. Once we do this, the country will reap great benefits as returns from our youth. As wisely said by the great Franklin D. Roosevelt, we cannot always build a future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, as we move towards the future, it is crucial to carry a piece of our history with us. The mission that USM HBP should remain the driving force in our efforts, ensuring the endurance of our legacy. Here we stand, 50 years onwards. 50 years of classes, students and proud alumni, 50 years of building our youth and our nation, 50 years of unwavering faith and tireless dedication. This span of time represents our commitment for transforming the institution that has emerged from a once humble. One of the things that really impressed me, I haven't come here for about 20 years, and one of the things that really impressed me is the amount of development. Sungai Ara has become now part of, Sungai Dua has become part of the campus. If I remember when the mosque was there, that was where the gate was. And Desa 317, I was staying there, is now unrecognizable. The long houses are gone. So, I think, you can see how far away I've been. But, these mighty buildings now, standing tall in the midst of this, what I say, lightning and thunder, will continue to stand here for many decades to come. There is never a storm that is too fierce, nor a rain too heavy for us. We are proud members of HBP to stand rooted in any challenge that we may face. Again, it is a great honor to be here to speak as an alma mater, a member of the alma mater, alumni, and I wish everybody good wishes and huge congratulations. I'm still rooting for HBP, and I'm hoping to contribute more, that I have a bit more time now. And thank you for being part of the past, our present and future. And I must say, I cannot agree more with the name of this school. The School of Housing, Building and Planning. Indeed, it houses hopes, builds dreams, and plans for the future. It's an amazing 50 years. And I look for 50 years more. Thank you so much and God bless you.
Majlis melakukan ucapan jutaan terima kasih kepada Yang Berbahagia Datuk atas ucap pertama yang telah disampaikan sebentar tadi. Dan dipohon Datuk untuk terus kekal di pentas utama bagi acara seterusnya. Seterusnya, majlis penyampaian cenderahati. Majlis sekali lagi dengan penuh hormat menjemput Yang Berusaha Profesor Dr. Habibah A. Wahab, Timbalan Naib Chancellor Pendidikan dan Inovasi Universiti Sains Malaysia, diiringi Yang Berusaha Profesor Madya Teknologis Dr. Muhammad Rozi Ismail, Dekan Pusat Pengajian Perumahan, Bangunan dan Perancangan, untuk menyampaikan cenderahati. kepada yang berbahagia Datuk. Dipersilakan. Terima kasih diucapkan. Hadirin sekalian, kini kita berada di penghujung majlis perasmian. Para kenamaan dan div-div jemputan serta hadirin dijemput untuk ke sesi lawatan tapak pameran dan reruai yang berada di bahagian luar Dewan ini. Dan para kenamaan serta div-div jemputan juga dijemput untuk ke sesi jamuan minum pagi yang telah disediakan di Dewan Makan sesuai ataupun seusai lawatan ke tapak pameran tersebut. Dengan penuh hormat dipersilakan. Di sini juga terdapat sedikit pengumuman. Hadirin yang dihormati, kudapan pagi untuk para pensyarah dan tetamu jemputan telah disediakan di Dewan Banquet. Manakala bagi pelajar tahun 1, kudapan anda telah disediakan oleh pihak Jurusetia di kaunter pendaftaran. Bagi pelajar tahun 2 dan ke atas, anda boleh menjamu selera di gerai makanan yang berada di luar Dewan ini. Untuk makluman juga, para peserta termasuk pelajar tahun 1